Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava ki jai. Jai Radha Govinda ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naranchaiva narotaman devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayesho abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtiki Om Gyananti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Minobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Gripa Sindhubhya Evacha Vaditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the Bhagavatam class. Good morning, New York. How are you? All good? Thank you for allowing me to speak on the Bhagavatam, which is non-different from Krishna. Same thing. This is Krishna. Only if we could realize this, it would be so much better. If we could fully realize that the most beautiful Bhagavatam is Krishna. And today we are reading from the 3rd canto, chapter 5, verse 32. This verse is just 2 lines. Tamaso bhuta sakshmadir yatakam lingam atmanaha. Tamaso bhuta sakshmadir yatakam linga atmanaha. Tamaso bhuta sakshmadir yatakam lingam atmanaha. Tamaso bhuta sakshmadir yatakam lingam atmanaha. Someone wants to chant again? Sanskrit. Sakshmadir yatakam lingam atmanaha. Tamaso bhuta sakshmadir Yadagam lingam atmanaha. Tamaso bhuta sakshmadir Radhagam linga atmana. We did it all. Haribo. First time we did it all. I never seen. This is the first time. So translation, words by words. Tamasaha, from the mode of passion. Tamasaha, from the mode of passion. Bhuta sukshma adihi, subtle sense objects. Yataha, from which? Come, the sky. Lingam, symbolic representation. Atmanaha, the Supreme Soul. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. The sky is a product of sound, and sound is a transformation of egoistic passion. In other words, the sky is the symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. In the Vedic hymns it is said, Etasmat Atmanaha Akasha Sambhutaha, the sky the symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. Those who are egoistic in passion and ignorance cannot conceive the personality of Godhead. For them, the sky is the symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. Translation, once again. The sky is a product of sound, and sound is the transformation of egoistic passion. In other words, the sky is the symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul. I'm seeking for the blessings of Maharaj, of the senior devotees, so that I can be able to say something substantial. 32. Yeah. So here we are, we see this very nice example, which we find many times in the books, in the Vedic scriptures, how the sky is the symbolic representation of the Lord. Because as the wind and everything else rests in the sky, in the same way, everything is resting in the Lord. The wind is there, we are there, the objects, the sun, the planets, the universes, everything. And everything is contained in space, in the ether, Akash. But the sky is aloof. He is transcendental, the Lord. He is transcendental to everything. And we find an explanation in the Bhagavad Gita 9.6. Maybe I'll read a little bit of it. Chapter 9. 9.6. Understanding that as the mighty wind blowing, everywhere rests, always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. Purport. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive. And in that sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movement of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under His will. By His will, everything is being created. Everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, He is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. And this very nice part of the comment is serving us to understand this example, which is suitable for the conditioned living entities to understand the greatness of God. It gives us an idea, even though an example cannot give us the complete realization, but at least we can imagine, we can see the sky, how big it is, and the wind which is contained in it, which is blowing constantly, and we can see it here in New York quite often because of the ocean. It's moving the waves, it's moving the trees. It can destroy cities. We know these hurricanes and natural disasters caused by very, very big wind, very big, speed of the wind. And but everything is contained within the sky. It's not that there is something separate from it. Even the greatness of the wind is inside the sky. And this is giving us some idea of the Lord's potency, His inconceivable potency, so that we can meditate on this principle and we can understand the greatness of God. Just like Prabhupada said, God is great, but how great is God? Do we actually know how great is God? Because if we actually understand the greatness of God, we will easily surrender. That's it. And the Bhagavatam and the other Vedic scriptures are helping us to estimate, at least theoretically, the greatness of the Lord, at least that we can imagine a little bit. Just like, for example, I remember when I was going to school, we were having a religious class, and I always liked the teachers. The teachers of the religious classes, they were always the coolest. And in the beginning lessons, they were giving us the idea of religion, how the Neanderthal man, like the stone, the stone man? Caveman, yes, the caveman had his first realizations, his first conceptions of the might of something supernatural, which is there, the supreme intelligence or whatever. And so the caveman, he was looking at the lightning, at the storms, and all these natural disasters that were happening, and he was like, he was dandavat, he was giving dandavats. Because this is the natural propensity of the living entity, of the jiva, that when the jiva is seeing something supernatural, something great, something of a great opulence, like a lightning or a big fire or very big wind, he is naturally humbled. And even when we see some person, when we see a beautiful man, when we see an erudite scholar, this immediately evokes in us this sense of awe and reverence, when we surrender, we surrender to him, we want to get his association, we remain in awe, seeing supernatural things. And in this way, by studying, by meditating on these aspects of the Lord, even impersonal aspects of the Virat Rupa, of the universal form of the Lord, we can get some taste, we can get some humility. But one cannot understand the Lord completely by rationalization and examples. All these things, they are helpful, they give us a push, but we cannot understand the mightness the limited power of Krishna, because he is aprameya. He cannot be measured by material means. We cannot use our small brains, our frog-like brains, to measure the potencies of the Lord. He is a dokshaja. If one wants to understand the Lord, as we all know, Prabhupada is quite often stating in his purports, one has to actually undergo the purificatory process of sadhana bhakti, which we are all trying to practice every day. And Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there's this famous verse, 1.1.2.34. You know it? It's from Bhakti Shastri. Atashi Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyai Sevan Mukhahi Jivadao Svayameva Shpurati Adaha. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Simple. Just take prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, and be happy. That's it. Nothing else. Go to Harinam, distribute some books. Simple. But we are not simple, that's why it's difficult. That's the main problem. We are complicated. And so the verse here is saying that those who are egoistic in passion and ignorance cannot conceive the personality of Godhead. As we all know, I'll also read a few verses from the 14th chapter so that we remind ourselves of the qualities of material nature. What is tamas? Tamas tvagyanta jam vidhi, mohanam sarvadehinam, pramadalasya nidrabis, tanni badani bharata. O children of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti. And because of this the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions. And then we have the best position in the material world, which is Arjuna. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. By associating with devotees, of course, we maintain ourselves in sattva gun. But why not even more? Like, for example, if we are associating with Maharaj, we'll go beyond even. And so by studying these qualities, by understanding them gradually in the practice of sadhana bhakti, after some time we, by observation of our own nature, of other people's qualities, it becomes easier to determine our position, to determine which are our own qualities, our own faults, our own inclinations, and to detect these problems that we have. And even if one is in the mode of goodness, which is, as Prabhupada says, it's a stepping stone for spiritual realization. We're not even meant to stay permanently in the mode of goodness, because even if it's the purest, even if it's the best position, it's still binding, it's still material, it's still contaminated by material qualities. Because one becomes puffed up, one becomes proud, because he has a sense of happiness. When in the mood of goodness, in this world, on this planet, he's really happy. He's much more happy than the rest. And he knows. And he has a sense of knowledge. And that's why he becomes puffed up, because he thinks he's happy and he knows. And we can clearly see this, especially in the Hindu community, where people are really pious, really sattvic, but then they become really puffed up. And but in Kali Yuga we are mostly influenced by the lower modes. So by associating with the mood of goodness, we can actually get it by associating with the higher qualities of this saintly position. By refinement of character and by undergoing of austerities, we can get situated into this mode. The Gita says 1842 Samodamas tapashaucham kshantir arjavam evacha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom and religiousness, these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So, these are some of the qualities, these are the qualities by which the Brahmanas operate. And this verse is giving us possibility to meditate on what we are supposed to become, one day at least. I remember my Guru Maharaj, when he gave me second initiation, he called me in his room and he told me, I'm giving you second initiation, but you're not qualified. And then he made me learn this verse. And I read it to him also. He wanted me to read it to him. And he was like, honesty. Being honest, no? That's something. And I was like, yeah, Maharaj, yeah. Being honest is, when you're in front of your Guru, you understand that actually honesty is something very big, because we are conditioned living entities, and many times we are cheating ourselves, we are cheating others, because we are not being honest. Of course, in the beginning, when we apply ourselves to the process, many of these more gross types of anarthas and bad behaviors, they are getting purified easily, but then subtle cheating is there. Yeah. Sometimes we are used to say something and then we're doing another thing, and then like this. So something to meditate on. And many of these things which we read in the books, which we discover through the pastimes in the Bhagavatam, many of these subtleties and behaviors, they remain a big mystery for us, because we don't learn them just by reading and studying the books. That is just one side of the coin. if we want to actually get the full realization, we have to become servants and we have to associate with the devotees properly. And then we will get the realization. Then we can actually understand the Bhagavatam. By associating especially with the senior devotees, by seeking their advice, this is very important and is a pivotal concept for us, especially in the West, because we've been raised in this new age, democratic, capitalistic world where everybody is on his own, everybody is me against the world, just trying to accumulate money and control everything and become God, because this is our inner desire, we want to become God. But to put ourselves into a dependent position and to be a humble servant and to ask and inquire from someone who is superior than us, and that's a big thing. It is really a big thing. So this Vaishnava etiquette, this is one of the most important things of the life of the devotee. Because etiquette comes before knowledge. Like we see here in this chapter also, Vidura is giving us this example. Talking with Maitreya in a humble state of mind, approaching him very humbly. You're beginning with certain types of questions. Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya padikshanti te gyanam gyaninas tattvadarshinaha. If one just tries to approach a saintly person, a tattvadarshi, one who has seen the truth, one who has realized, and he humbly and submissively hears from him and serves him, then that saintly person, he can actually impart the realized knowledge on him. But what if we just read the books and study and become Trivedi or Chaturvedi or Panchvedi, but then we are behaving like cats and dogs? What is the use of our knowledge? We can see it in the modern world also. All these people, like my peers, they all went to school, they studied, they got diplomas. Some became engineers, some became teachers, painters, whatever, so many professions. But then they are behaving like cats and dogs. Then what kind of occupation will you get, even in the materialistic society? Who will respect you if you are some kind of a jerk? If you go to work and you're being rude or uncultured, spitting on the ground, these are gross examples, but we find even subtle examples like, what if the boss tells you, do this, do that, and then you're like, forget it, or you're like responding in an improper mood, then they'll fire you. They'll fire you from work. So what is the use of all this knowledge? If one gets so much knowledge, but then if he's behaving improperly, when a senior Vaishnava comes to him and tells him something confidential or tries to teach him something, and then he's like, yes, I know. Then what is the use? There is a risk of becoming just monkeys which are holding Bhagavatam in one hand and japa in the other. Monkeys who are jumping on the trees if we don't have this proper mood and refinement. What happens when one is in Sattva Gun, when he becomes proud? He's on the top, but then this pride, which is a tamasic quality, he makes him fall again into the pit. of darkness. Purna Mushika Bhava. You know this pastime? No? Purna Mushika Bhava. The mouse was getting chased by the cat and was getting so much harassed, running for his life. But then he wanted to find a solution, so he went to one mystic yogi, to one rishi, and asked him for help. Please help me, can you transform me into a dog so that I can beat up the cat? And the rishi said, Tatastu. And then the mouse became a dog. And then, no problem, the cat ran away because the dog is stronger and so forth. But then the dog was walking and then the tiger came, started harassing and chasing the dog because he wanted to eat him. And the dog went again to the rishi and asked him, please, can you please help me? Now I have this tiger problem. Can you transform me into a tiger myself? The rishi said, Tatastu. And then he became a tiger. And it was not a problem. Tigers, they go along together. But then, as he became tiger, he looked at the rishi with a particular desire. And he wanted to eat him. He jumped. But then the rishi said, Purna Mushika Bhava. Mouse again. He became a mouse. And in the same way, when we get proud of something which is not ours, the body is not ours, the knowledge is not ours, the air that we are not breathing is not ours, nothing is ours. When we become falsely proud, then again Maya kicks us in the teeth and we fall again to learn the lesson. But sometimes we don't learn, so Maya has to kick us many times, again and again and again and again. But if we just surrender to the teachings of the Vedas, if we just surrender to the senior Vaishnavas and just try to serve them, then it will be much more easier, much more easy. And we're very fortunate because Srila Prabhupada was here just some years ago. And we got his fine example. We got the possibility to listen to his lectures, to watch some videos, some footage of him, to hear his direct voice examples, to read his letters, conversations. This is so precious. So we have to take advantage of this, and we have to try to apply it in our lives, read the books, distribute them, because this is his prime desire. And if we just satisfy him, if we serve him to the best of our capacity, Krishna will be very satisfied. Because Prabhupada is sent by Krishna. He's not different. He's an expansion of his energy, pure devotee. And this is what I wanted to say. There are some comments, questions, chastisements, donations. Prabhu.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. First of all, I think the word for word, the translation, they are wrong. Like, it's not mode of passion, it's mode of ignorance.
Yeah, also.
Yeah, but my question is, what is the actual value of the mode of goodness? Because you give two contrary pictures. In one picture you said that the mode of goodness, it easily leads to pride. And then some persons, they might come up to the mode of goodness, but because they're not utilizing the opportunity, they get pride and they fall down again.
Sure.
But then on the other hand, you mentioned the qualities of the brahmanas. And those qualities, they're not like directly spiritual qualities, they're more qualities in the mode of goodness. So then you highlighted, that we should meditate on those qualities. So what is the actual position, Like what is the importance of the mode of goodness in our movement, in preaching, and where does it stand?
It's of primary importance. Just like I mentioned before, Prabhupada said, mode of goodness is a stepping stone for spiritual realization. This means that Sattva Gun is the nearest position to Vishuddha Sattva. And of course I said some things which might seem contradictory. The point is that one has to get situated in Sattva Gun, but then one has to go further. One has to use this position. Guru Maharaj many times mentioned in his lectures. So this Sattva Gun, this Varnashama Dharma that we have in our movement, that we're trying to at least a little bit follow and implement, this is like a safe net. In the circus, when they walk with the stick in the circus, and they have a safe net. When he falls down, he falls down on the net. You don't crash in the ground. You don't go in the lower modes. So when we're following the rules and regulations for our ashram, our varna and ashrama, we are at least safe. We won't fall in the lower modes. But we cannot remain there, because if we remain there, we will certainly fall, because we will get proud of our position sooner or later, because this is the nature of material energy. Even Sattva Gun is not pure. Even Sattva Gun, there are some tinges of Rajas and Tamas. So sooner or later we'll get it. And the saintly qualities which I read, I think they are, I'm not sure, maybe Maharaj can say, I think they are transcendental. They're not just in Sattva Gun. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. Are these qualities in Sattva Gun, or are they are transcendental? Yeah, they're transcendental. They're both in goodness, but also in Sattva. I don't know if I answered everything. Yeah. Or he also says, how do you say this? Crouches? Crutches. Yeah, so we are crippled. How was that verse? Manda sumanda mata yo manda bhagya upadruta. In Kali Yuga, no intelligence, short lives, tamogun, lazy. So we're using these crutches, Otherwise, constantly falling. Like this. One more? Exotic question. Ooh. I like exotic stuff.
So usually I have not heard many devotees speak about this, but like in preaching, I noticed there's this new thing that came up, and people, they speak a lot, because you mentioned that the verse speaks about Akash, space. So people come up with this new thing, the Akashic Records. Have you heard of that before?
Oh yes, I was also.
Okay.
I was also back in the days. Prior to Krishna consciousness, I was also seeking for the Akashic Records. I was trying to connect to them,
so
download all the knowledge and be a guru,
So in a nutshell, basically, is the idea that there is this, as you mentioned also in class, that everything is contained in space. So the idea of the Akashic Records is that there's like all knowledge and everything that is there to know. It is there like in space, and we can access it, we can channel it, for meditation and whatever. So what is like our perspective on that?
What is our perspective? Like, for example, when we're preaching and we meet this kind of people who are proposing this mumbo jumbo.
Something, is like all mental speculation? Is there some truth to it? Like, what is it like?
Yeah, when a person comes to you like this, like for example, my my approach would be, wow, you know so much. We need more people like you. I'll tell you something more. If you use this mantra, you can access the Akashic Records. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everything is there. Akashic Records, you, me, the world, all the gods, all the demigods, all the devils, Satan is there, everyone. Something like this. Yeah. What I've understood is when we meet people outside, most of their minds, even the spiritual people who have a little bit of finer sense, their minds are, complete concoction. And we just try to engage them, and we're not disagreeing with them. We are just, yes, okay. Just try to chant the Hare Krishna, come to our temple, take prasad. That's the only way, otherwise. If you start explaining to him, no, what is this Akashic record? This is bogus, What is this demigod worship? Get out of here. So of course, if he's offensive, then we just move away. But many people, they're just materialists, They're just innocent people. So we can take advantage. We can use our intelligence to engage them and somehow to chant the mantra and give them prasadam, bring them to the temple, give them a book. There you go. Their life is successful. Our life is successful. Like this. Devarish? Arjuna? Chaitanya? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Te Gaur Premanand.